Hello guys, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're new to my channel, hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Summer. So in today's video I want to talk about some controversial pastors that are not originally from South Africa, but somehow they ended up in South Africa, or somehow South Africa is where they chose to, end up, or where they chose to go and base. Because some things that happened recently got me really thinking. The fact that some of these controversial pastors are based in South Africa. And I started wondering why actually are they choosing South Africa? We have Bushiri and Alph Lukau, and we have Chris Oyakhilome. If you know of more, you can add in the comment section. Some of them even started from villages. Slowly, as they got bigger and bigger, they moved to the city and moved and ended up in South Africa. I started wondering, why did they actually choose South Africa? Because you ask yourself, you can't tell me that the people in their own countries do not need God. They do not need the gospel. Do you know what I'm trying to say? What about South Africa attracts them? And as I was wondering about it, I thought about a video that I made recently about non-Africans that may be planning to move to Africa. And I was talking about, things they should be aware of, ways they should be prepared, stuff like that. I saw comments saying that the best option for such people may be South Africa. I'm basically quoting people's comments. Something like South Africa is a bit like halfway Western, even though it's Africa. I've never been to South Africa, so I do not know. But these are some of the comments people left. That South Africa, although it's Africa, but it's a bit more like Western society than most African countries. And so it's almost like halfway of coming from a so-called Western part of the world to Africa. We're seeing comments about how South Africa is this, South Africa is that. And I started thinking, for example, Christ Embassy, Chris Oyakhilome started from Ekboma, which is a village. And then from there, he moved up and ended up in Lagos. And I think from Lagos, he ended up in Abuja. And then somehow Abuja was no longer enough. He ended up in South Africa. As far as I know, I think he's still in South Africa. And Bushiri himself started from his own country, Malawi, and then he got bigger and bigger and bigger, and he ended up in South Africa. And Lukau, I'm not 100% sure of Lukau, but at the end of the day, he's not South African, but he is in South Africa. Oh, before I forget, when it comes to the term controversial, a lot of us know Lukau because of his miracle of waking up the dead. And, people started looking into it and finding out that somehow got exposed, and people showing that the guy was breathing, the guy was not even dead. No hospital could confirm that this guy was dead. The people that they used their vehicle to transport the so-called dead man came out and said, we didn't pick him up from a hospital, a mortuary, nothing like that. They just used our vehicle to transport him. Most funeral homes would have taken the dead person, they would have taken the corpse and do all the process of preparing the corpse and everything and then transport with their vehicle. But they said, we didn't prepare the corpse, we just borrowed our vehicle. And no hospital has come to confirm that this patient died in their hospital. And there's been so much controversies about Alph Lukau, his lavish lifestyle and all of those things that he exhibits, and the private jet life and all of those things. So that's that when it comes to being controversial. And then we have Bushiri, who has done a lot of miracles that have been allegedly fake miracles. And then controversial recently, an investment fund, and where people lost their money, they didn't get their money back, they didn't even get their capital back. He was supposed to be in court and ran away and ran back home to his country. And the private jet life as well. So that's that. And then Chris Oyakhilome, well, there's been a lot of things about Chris Oyakhilome, but I think the most recent one will have to be, when it comes to the area of controversy, will be the area of the microchip and his blackboard, his whiteboard, and mathematical calculation of when the world is going to end, and all the COVID conspiracies, and what was the other one called? The 5G conspiracies and all of those things. So that is what, when I say controversial, that is what I'm referring to. He has a private jet lifestyle as well and all of those. When it comes to why do they choose South Africa, there's also this school of thought or this belief that, these people want the Western society kind of a life, but somehow their countries were not Western society enough for them. South Africa is the nearest to the Western society as possible. So That's why they chose it. But why did they not go all the way out and actually go to the so-called Western society, like the UK, the US, Australia, and other parts of the world? And there's that school of thought, this thinking that a lot of these people know some of the things they do, that they know that if they do it in those societies, they cannot get away with them. But they can get away with them in Africa. You get the point? And so that is why they are not comfortable to move completely out of Africa, because they know that there's so much you can get away with in Africa that you cannot get away with in a so-called Western society. For example, this investment fund drama going on, scandal going on with Bushiri. If that had happened in the Western society, I don't think he would have been able to run away to Malawi. And I don't even know if he would have been granted bail. And then there's this allegation that he must have paid his way to escape from South Africa to his country. I don't know. Like, you see, Western society, bribing your way out of trouble is not that easy. Those parts of the world, he wouldn't have been able to get away with it. And then this area of them becoming mini gods to a great extent is not exactly like that in most Western society, that people basically worship the ground they work on. So, that may explain why they choose to still stay in Africa, but move to part of Africa that is a bit more Western than most part of Africa. And then another area is the area of currency. When it comes to Africa, South African currency is one of the highest currencies in Africa. That's another area. But there are some other currencies that are a bit higher, but the society is not as Western as the Oyibo society, if you know what I'm trying to say. It's almost like trying to find the best fertile ground when it comes to finance. Because, let me tell you, my take on this is this. How does the God that call you, because I don't own this, that is one thing. How does the God that called these people, or these people say call them, calls them to go to the bigger city, to the bigger city, to the bigger city? What is wrong in going into the smaller cities, even going to the smaller cities and going into the most remote villages? Why does it have to get to the bigger cities? What is wrong with it advancing and going further, deeper into the rural villages? Think about it. Do you know why? Villagers don't give big tithes and offering. What they have is their tubers of yam, cocoyam. Villagers are not loaded. When it comes to finance, money, villagers cannot give the biggest tithes and offering. Villagers would not financially make them billionaires. That is it. Don't tell me that. Let me tell you, the cities are saturated with churches left, right, and center. People in the city would have heard from God from every corner. Let me tell you, do not forget that if they decide to go to the most remote villages, they can still broadcast the gospel from those villages for the world to hear. But their lifestyles will be different. So wonder then which God is calling these people and sending them to mega cities, and then moving them from those small cities and keep moving them to the next mega cities. And then you think about it, how do they get so big that they become bigger than their own countries, their own villages? They become bigger than their own cities, their own countries, that they end up in South Africa. Think about it. So are you trying to say that people in South Africa need Jesus more than the people of the countries where they are coming from? So I don't know, because honestly, it is something that I have recently started wondering about. I was like, whoa, wow. There's actually this migrating South Africa thing going on. And I was just wondering about it. And these are the few things that have come to my mind, or that I have noticed people talk about. And I don't know what your opinions are. A lot of South Africans have been making comments, especially after Bushiri ran away. South Africans leaving comments and say he came to our country to come make money off our people, make money off our economy. And now he's run home to his country with all our money, and I just started thinking about it. Well, why do they actually choose South Africa? I don't know. Whatever your opinions are, feel free to leave them in the comment section below. And with that, I'm going to say thank you for watching. Until the next time, guys. Bye-bye. Bye.